Power want to break that tag. Surgeon's been in pretty good form. Luke Power was well held last week.
And we're underway. Brogan in the ruck, no Charman, as we mentioned in the opener. And Corns quickly to Burgoyne, and Roden takes the mark on the wing.
Needs to be well guarded, Roden. He's a line breaker.
Pokes it to Treadray. Be happy with that. An early touch. Thumps it long towards the square. Brogan getting there and almost the one grabber. Gathers his own crumb to Cassisi. Rolls it home. Took them 28 seconds.
Well, pretty clearly, the game plan is for the ruckman to get forward. Coming in without Sharman. They're up against one of the most experienced and best ruckmen in the competition, Dean Brogan. Up against Leuenberger, and there he is, Brogan. Should have grabbed that one, but very good hands. Got it out to Cassisi, and it was just charged the light brigade. Centre bounce, then charged forward. Cassisi started inside. He's up on Lappin. Brogan started inside, and they just charged forward and charged forward hard. Good start to the power.
Opening goal to Dominic Cassisi. Three players that would normally be in the centre square for the bounce. Salopek, Pearce and Lade all starting on the bench for Port Adelaide tonight. Surgeon. Chad Corns. Umpire wants him to get it out. Coming out the back door, and Cassisi again. Umpire might have to sort this out, I think. Thankfully he will. And there is the Port Adelaide bench with those three players, Salopek, Lade, Pearce and Paul Stewart also on the pine to start this contest. Corns again, coming off one of his best games last week, 34 possession game, and started like a house on fire. Roden to Ebert, hoping to get part of it as well tonight. Goalless last week, sends it to Treadray. Speaking of goalless last week, Warren Treadray, Justin Westhoff and Brett Ebert all goalless last week in the showdown, and Treadray a chance to get off the mark tonight.
Well, the kick from Brett Ebert was an absolute ripper. There is nothing tougher for a defender to cope with than the kick that's coming over the top to the forward, running back towards goal. It's just impossible for Daniel Merritt, given that he was being led up to the ball, to be there coming back.
Should be a formality. Warren Treadray's first of the night, fifth of the season.
Well, Lee Matthews and one of his skippers, Simon Black, have got a bit of a problem here, because Chad Corns, who's lined up on Black, has had the football on 2 occasions in the opening 2 bounces. And in the opening match of the season, they went head-to-head, Black and Kerr. Well, Daniel Kerr set them up because he got off Black, and Black just wasn't able to go with them in a defensive way. Well, right now, Simon Black has got to close down on Chad Corns.
Warren Treadray, who did kick 5 goals against the Lions here at AAMI Stadium back in 2005.
Bit of a worry for Brisbane at the moment. He's just getting their hands on it. 10 possessions to Port Adelaide, 1 to Brisbane.
Port fans will be hoping Warren Treadray can have a night out again tonight. Leuenberger entrusted with the ruck work against Brogan. Ball falls to Corrie, gets the takeaway. Inside 50 for the first time tonight, the Lions. 2 power forwards, Bradshaw and Brown down there. Bradshaw to his own advantage, then 2 Brown on cue. Black, 60 from goal, centering kick, straight to his man, Chad Corns, who called in Brogan, and he dropped the mark. Brown dives in, slaps it out, in fact throws it out.
Well, you'd like to think that he lost it in the lights, Dean Brogan, because that was a big blunder, but a great opportunity, Jared, for Adipati Carlisle, who gets the job on Jonathan Brown. He's a big brute of a fellow, so fantastic to see him getting a crack at it.
Which has left Toby Thurston's on Bradshaw, and Troy Chaplin, another tall defender, he's going to attack.
Warren Treadray gets it from Corns and hands it to Pettigrew. Warren's looking lively early. Thomas, who laid that crunching tackle on Nathan Bassett last week. To Corns, towards Boak, spilled the mark, gathers his crumb, makes amends, slips it to Treadray. Westhoff played for the free in the back, did not get it. And the boy who was on Port's rookie list, Patfull, turns it over to Boak. Numbers in the middle for Port Adelaide. Brogan holds that one.
They are just under siege at the moment, Brisbane. They haven't got a handle on things at all. Port Adelaide running riot. I know it's only early, it's only the first few minutes of the game, but if this is an indication of what's going to happen, they're in real strife, Brisbane, because Port Adelaide are just running riot.
Come out the side, guys.
And once again, pretty clear that Dean Brogan's been told to push forward on Leuenberger. Jared Brennan has started on the bench, so we expect that he will be the interchange for young Leuenberger. Maybe they'll have to put Jonathan Brown in there at some stage. That'll be a big risk. But right now, he's getting cold up in the forward line.
Stats say he's the best kick of all the ruckmen in the AFL, Dean Brogan, and he proves that stat correct. They've got the first 3.
We said they've had trouble starting, Jared. They haven't won too many quarters of football in 2008, 2 in fact, and certainly none of the first or second quarters of any match this season, but that is the perfect start for Port Adelaide.
Well, Lee Matthews has got a problem now. He needs his senior players to get their hands on the footy, and as you said, there's not one player for the Lions who's had more than one possession. So if you can't get the footy, you're in trouble.
Had a career-high 10 direct knockouts to teammates for clearances last week, Dean Brogan, and that is why he's starting in the ruck and has Brendan Lade relegated to the bench at the moment. Up he flies to Chad Corns, the danger man again, and with time to Boak. Bouncing ball, gathers, backtracks, Thomas. Good smother. Mops up his own mess. Chaplin threads the handball to Peter Burgoyne. 41 possessions last week, Peter Burgoyne. Unbelievable game. Chaplin on the end of the Brogan hand pass, but left it behind. Carlisle, Pettigrew, Cassisi. They're lining up. Modlop.
Gee, it looks a mismatch very early, doesn't it? You mentioned Peter Burgoyne there at half
back. The individuals or the teams? At the moment, it's 32 possessions to 5.
Yeah, it's like a senior side playing an underage side at the moment. Travis Johnson is starting at half forward and he's pushing up on the square. Peter Burgoyne pays no attention to him and sits directly in front of Jonathan Brown and Daniel Bradshaw. And he'll just mop up everything all night.
You'd think you'd man up a player coming off a 41 possession career high game, as Peter Burgoyne is. Modlop, he can be iffy in front of goal, misses.
I think the biggest issue, though, is this Black versus Chad Corns issue. Chad Corns is just about the best player in the competition right now, and he needs to be stopped because he has ignited Port Adelaide in the early minutes.
Brennan with the fly, nice hands.
That's it, that's a mark, Chad.
Jared Brennan, who started on the bench for the Lions tonight, on early. To the wing. Black and Kane Corns slap down Stiller. Nice crumb, nowhere to go. Little chip kick is okay from Selwood to Johnston. Travis to the midfield. Danger for Leuenberger. Holds it well.
That's the kick that can open up the ground for them. Now they've got to bring it back into the corridor and open up the runners coming over to the fat side.
To McDonald, to Begley. Now the 2 power forwards, both down there. Bradshaw, the go-to man this time. Thurston's clever punch, thumped it through. Hard to punch with the flight of the ball, but he did brilliantly. Tough punch, that. Roden. Through the midfield. Surgeon. Sean Burgoyne, Pettigrew, Roden. Good movement. Long kick. Tough kick for Westhoff to get back onto it. Makes the ground to his own advantage. Couldn't keep his feet. Ebert sees it out.
That passage of play, as much as anything, would worry me if I was Lee Matthews. They ran that by hand, virtually from the back pocket to half forward before the kick went forward, and Brisbane didn't look like touching it.
Westhoff and Tredray pushed Leuenberger underneath the ball.
Right now, Jared Brennan is trying to get onto Kane Corns, and Kane Corns is trying to get onto Simon Black.
And Motlop trying to get onto this Sharon. Knocks it down to Cassisi. Boak, Modlop, dangerous. Spins out of 4. Can't hit the target with the handball. Ebert rides the bump to Surgeon. And he can't slice them apart. Jacob Surgeon, but the scoreboard still looks healthy for Port Adelaide.
Interesting just watching the 4 players try to, I guess, get their own way. The only bloke who's winning is Chad Corns because he doesn't care. He's just going after the footy, and he's winning it particularly well with 4 possessions and a hand in a couple of goals already.
McDonald, long launch. Corn stays down, lets Johnston take the mark. Ball just held up into a breeze slightly in this opening term, the Brisbane Lions. Selwood, Black. Can't hit the target with their handballs at the moment, and Adcock sees it roll out.
44 possessions to 18. There's not a lot you can do when you're not getting the footy.
Brogan down in the black direction. Canecorn's right with him again. Salopek knocked off it, and power to Corrie. But again, the handball at his feet. Corrie good enough to make something of it. Drop punt in the Bradshaw direction again. Thurston's got a hand on it. Jonathan Brown rolls it into the behind post. He knows where they are here, Jonathan Brown. He did kick 7 goals here a couple of years ago at Amy Stadium. So Carlisle with the big job on him, as Jason mentioned. Brogan, decisive knockdown. Roden, Pettigrew, Salopek, Thurstons, Chaplin. Couple of options down the middle. Thurstons through traffic, messing with it a little. Salopek, handball back. They're good enough to get out of it. Pettigrew, Thurstons, Roden uses his pace. Salopek again. Boak half smothered the handball. Pearce. Leuenberger with him. Brilliantly, Leuenberger to Patfull. Now the Lions on the rebound. Good up. Long kick to Johnston, and he can go. Forced to hold up. In fact, he takes on and is beaten by Cassisi.
Well, if Lee Matthews could restart this game, I'm sure he'd like to, because they are just not applying anywhere near the pressure required at this level at the moment.
Although that last time, Jared, when they ran it out of defence, Port Adelaide, was a much better effort to at least create some sort of turnover pressure.
Ebert thrown away from it after not quite holding the mark, and this could be a turning point for his year. Haven't had a great time of it so far, and he goes short. Chad Corns.
Justin Sherman on. Important for him. He's been down. He's back in the team last week. Made a couple of blues early. Got a goal late in the game. He's interchanged with Travis Johnson. Got to get out there and run his guts out.
That's your limit. No more. I know you've come in.
Mentioned his 34th possession game last week, Chad Corns, but 2 goals as well. Nice off the boot. Dream start, Port Adelaide.
It's been a fantastic start to Port. They've bounced back. The good players are in sync at the present time. We just saw Sean Burgoyne getting a kick forward. Pretty sloppy free kick for mine, that one. And Ebert just sets up Chad Corns, who's pushed down the ground. And he's exposed a lack of accountability there by Jared Brennan. It was a hard one to stop, of course. It was out in front. It was perfect football. A good start.
4-0 start. Chad Corns and Jonathan Brown side by side at the moment. Jonathan Brown into the middle for this bounce. They need their best players where the ball is. Roden steals it.
He's
Slick.
field day early, Roden.
Cassisi, Chad Corns. So casual. He chips the ball wide. Almost Stewart, but he gathers the crumb. Takes on and can't quite beat McDonald, who forced the handball out of play. Rowan Smith.
Well, probably the only positive for Brisbane at the moment is the job that Troy Selwood did on Sean Burgoyne. He came to the bench. He's just gone back on. He's probably going to go forward. He's been a goal kicker the last couple of weeks.
Leuenberger and Brogan. Canecorn's push. No free. Lappin got it out. Cassisi. Little push from Jonathan Brown. Still under him. Roden again. Stewart. Well played, Hooper. Got a touch on it. Stopped Port Adelaide from going into attack. Lappin to make something of it. Caught. Turnover. Cassisi. Pearce. Brogan. Canecorn's. Trouble. Ball gone.
Better pressure. Lee Matthews would be thrilled with that. Maybe the light switch has gone off. Or gone on, hopefully.
Nigel Lappin, who might play his 300th game later this year. If they make the finals, the Lions. Corrie.
Good kick.
Nice kick, and Bradshaw gobbles it up.
Well, that just was almost deja vu for you, I reckon, Jason. That was one of your hallmark leads up to the fat side and right out in the chest.
A terrific kick just out to space. Let the player run onto it rather than sitting it up where he's got to fight with his opponent. He'll beat Thurstons for speed, Bradshaw.
And Bradshaw also knows where the goals are here. Has a 6-goal game to his name at Amy Stadium and makes no mistake. Hallelujah. Lions are on the board.
Well, massive understatement to say it was a crucial goal for Brisbane. I've just been so impressed with Daniel Bradshaw this year. He is one of the best recruits in the competition, given that he missed last year with a knee injury. He's come back in great fashion, kicked 5 last week and looked tremendous. And he just looks a fantastic physical specimen. Doesn't look to have lost any pace with the knee injury. And if he can get on the end of kicks like that, he'll take a lot of pressure off Jonathan Brown as well.
Yeah, good kick. Into a bit of a bruise.
12th goal of the season for Daniel Bradshaw. As Jason mentioned, missed all of last year with that knee injury, but has won the Brisbane Lions goal kicking a couple of years, 05 and 06, and they need him firing this year. Roden again with the takeaway. Missed the target with the handball, though, and it rolls to Chad Corns, to Kane Corns, to 50. High bomb, floating in the breeze. It's there. Instant reply.
The big problem that Brisbane have in the middle of the ground at the moment is that Troy Selwood has the job on Chad Corns. But the problem is Chad Corns is going to Jonathan Brown when he's in the middle. So Selwood is still going to Chad Corns, which makes it 2-on-1. Guess who it's leaving free? David Roden. And he's got about 3 clearances already. He's had half a dozen possessions. He's had 8 possessions. He's on fire. They've got a man up.
Kane Corns still with Simon Black. Kane Corns said a couple of years ago that his most respected opponent in the AFL is Simon Black because he makes him lift his level. And Kane Corns has had good form against Simon Black in the last 4 or 5 years. Peter Burgoyne to Roden, the man you spoke of, Jason. He is carving them to pieces. Kick not so good. McDonald. Tough for Notting. Really going to have to motor the toe poke.
Good option.
Perfect. Kept his feet, ran onto it, and hits Sherman with a powerful pass. Sherman, another one of the Brisbane Lions that started on the bench.
Square it up. Square it up.
Just a high bomb. Tough one for Jonathan Brown to even get near and laid. Fresh off the bench. Takes the mark.
It's okay to kick long down the line to a contest if there's nothing else there, but not when you're outnumbered. About 6-3 like Brisbane were. Then he had to square it up and just keep possession.
Pearce, Thurstons, Carlisle, and now Peter Burgoyne down the midfield. Leads come from inside 50. Ebert's short. That's in the direction that it's going. Thumped away from Hibbert. Was always a tough one to mark. Leuenberger, Patfull, Colm Begley out of trouble. Maybe temporary. Carlisle with him is Mills. Mills into the team. Late inclusion for the Lions with Jamie Charman out and deliberate out of play.
That's a good call. He didn't do anything other than just try to get it across the line. Lions have lifted their intensity to a degree, Jason, but there's a way to go.
Black gets a touch back on Kane Corns.
I guess the thing in their favour is that they are kicking into a bit of a breeze, but it seems to be dying as the night goes on.
Third possession for, if he gets rid of it, Simon Black, as opposed to Kane Corns' 6 so far. Nice hands. Good mark at half forward for Riscatelli. Plays on and sends the long bomb. 2-on-1. Bradshaw's the one. Thumped away from him. Now Sherman likes a goal if he can get near them. Bradshaw, Mills, not a big goal kicker, mainly plays in defence and knows it. Knew his limitations. Sherman to full forward, off hands, Corrie the goal. Brilliant goal by Anthony Corrie.
Made a goal out of nothing there, Gerard. What Brisbane have to do, even though they've been completely dominated in this first quarter, 67 disposals to 25.
And 5 centre clearance to 1.
If they can just reduce the damage on the scoreboard and stay within 3 goals. Sherman, good to see him getting involved a couple of times. If they can just stay within 3 or 4 goals, it is a slight breeze they're kicking into. They'll feel like they've got out of jail.
Yep. Well, I think it's good to see Justin Sherman on the board early in the piece. Needs a few positives. Good goal, Corrie.
Still has potential star written all over him, Anthony Corrie.
And I know he's down, Dwayne, but I think that Justin Sherman has too. He's back, I think, where he's most comfortable, and that's close to goal, where he can inspire his group. And I think he gets inspired himself when he can kick a goal.
Kane Corns again, tried to slip the handball out, couldn't. Thomas rolls in. The ball is extracted from Simon Black's hands, but straight to Chaplin. And to Simon Black's man, Kane Corns, to Peter Burgoyne. Thought about going all the way. Goes to Chad Corns, resting up forward. If you can call what he's doing resting, that is. From 50, sends it long and wide. Out of play. Dean Brogan getting some work done on the bench again, and David Roden having a rest and preparing to come back on. Laid in the ruck against Leuenberger. Travis Johnston clearing kick. Simon Black to his own advantage. Bumped by Peter Burgoyne. Sweeps it back, but straight to Black. Rolls it along the boundary line to Roden, just on, and the ball forced out by Lappin.
Be interested in your thoughts on this, Jason. When you talk about the best player in the game, two names always get mentioned. One's here tonight, Jonathan Brown. The other one, of course, is Chris Judd. But I reckon over the last 2 to 3 years, you've probably got Daniel Kerr up there with those two for his consistency. And I reckon Chad Corns is also right up there in their company.
He has to be, and the thing that he's got going for him is that whereas Judd and Kerr are midfielders, Chad Corns is also a midfielder, but he can play key position if you need him to.
Yep.
Chad Corns, by the way, speaking of that debate, was picked 9 in that 1997 draft where Travis Johnston was picked 1. And if you had that draft again, you'd have Chad Corns, Adam Goods, Simon Black and Matthew Scarlett to choose from as well as your #1 player from that draft. It's a fair draft, that. Pettigrew chips the kick in the Treadray direction. Over his head, McDonald takes the mark. Selwood. You heard the umpires call. It didn't go far.
They're hot on that this year, the umpires. If you blink, you're in trouble.
He deliberately went round. He was just trying to get back from the mark.
Johnston.
Push the numbers back here, Brisbane. They're in holding pattern. It's worked for a couple of goals for them, though.
And that was Lockie Henderson kicking wide. And free kick. Arm slap from Daniel Pearce. And Riscatelli to take the free. Here's the slap.
Right now, Sherman has gone on to Peter Burgoyne. It's a good matchup because he's been playing defensively for about a year, trying to get his form well back, so he's had a fair bit of training in that department, but he's still got that instinctiveness to kick goals, and the way to beat Peter Burgoyne is to make him accountable.
Easier said than done.
Yep.
Towards half forward, nodding with the crumb. 60 from goal. Tries to bend it back, but cannot.
He had Daniel Bradshaw pushing back into space, and just a measured left foot kick would have been another goal to Brisbane there. Unfortunately, didn't see him. It's him nodding.
There they are, Sherman and Burgoyne.
Good challenge for him. I think actually in hindsight, looking at the replay, he was trying just to screw it around the corner to Bradshaw, but caught it mid-ball.
Laid to Roden, and well done by Corns. He called Chaplin in, said you're safe. Chaplin took the mark and passes to Pearce. Port Adelaide away. Centering kick. Boak. Thomas. No one to go to by foot. Roden has to motor. Gets there. Pokes the pass. Perfect. Salopek.
Really good decision there by Thomas. He could have just instinctively offloaded it to his teammate going through, but he would have been buried by 4 Lions players. He held onto it. Here it is. He dummies back because Nigel Lappin was about to steal it. And whilst the handball wasn't his best, it set Roden up to deliver.
There's the game of David Roden at the moment. 12 possessions.
And I reckon most of them have been forward of the centre.
Even Salopek for his first goal of 2008. Still can't slide one through. 3 behinds so far this year.
He would have taken 2, possibly 3 centre clearances. And he has hit that ball inside the forward 50 a number of times.
Simon Black with 5 leads the possessions for Brisbane. Great to see him at least starting to get a few touches now. But as I mentioned, Roden with 12, Chad Corns 8, Pettigrew, Burgoyne 7. They've got a host of players getting a lot of it.
Power to Adcock. Pettigrew gets back. One of the men you mentioned, Thomas. Pettigrew thrown out of it. Stewart into trouble, but quickly out of trouble. Sean Burgoyne down to half-back. He's got Boak. Hits him with the pass. Couple of options short. Pearce is one of them. Tough one. Good punch, Colin Begley. Dumps it out of play. Colin Begley, who didn't know whether to come to Australia to play or not. And Ty Kennelly, fellow Irishman, spoke to him and more importantly to his father and said, you better get over there. Make your name in one of the greatest games of the world, and he decided to join the Lions, and he's been a good pickup. Power to Adcock.
He's lifted power in this last 5 minutes, as has Black, as you pointed out.
Sherman, the man I was speaking of, Colin Begley, who sends it inside 50 in the Bradshaw direction. Jonathan Brown lurking back at the pack. Hits the post.
Yours. Take it, right, take it.
Quick kick in.
You saw on that occasion, a long kick in. wasn't supported by any crummers because Brisbane has, I guess, drawn the line in the sand in this quarter by pushing numbers behind the footy.
Not sure what Chaplin was trying to do, go between the legs of Hooper.
That's a head-high tackle.
Not paid. Boak, Salopek, and Surgeon. Took a step sideways, or as Jared said, look sideways. It's enough now. Thurstons. Oh, he's given it straight to Curry. You can send this the whole way. Chased down by Thurstons. Tries to mop up his own mess. The tackle was good. Stewart. They get away with it.
Wasn't comfortable kicking
On the left foot, that was the problem for Anthony Curry, Jared. No confidence.
Surgeon, Cassisi, Carlisle, Thomas.
This bloke can play.
Alapate sends it wide to Ebert. Play on. Chad Corns. He's got Westhoff peeling back to the square. It's a one-on-one. Westhoff, oh, he's punched. Knocked down, and it's rolled through. It would have been a goal, but it's hit the goal umpire. What will he pay? This will be interesting. Big decision here. Uh-oh.
No.
Uh-oh.
I don't think you can pay that from this distance. We're a long way away. We'll have the benefit of hindsight of the close-up replay. It
Should have been a
looked
free kick anyway here.
No doubt it was a free kick to the youngster.
Joel McDonald just took him out, but as we have a look there,
It is hit him
boy,
fair and square.
would that have hit the
middle
goalpost? Oh, that would have hit the goalpost.
Hit
You
the
can't
goal
pay a
post.
goal.
No,
You
that's a
cannot
bad
pay a
decision.
goal.
It's hit the post.
Dwayno, Brisbane have been robbed. Robbed.
No doubt whatsoever. Chad Corns gets the goal. It's his second, but
That was
we're perhaps watching the last game umpired by this gentleman for a little while.
It bounces sideways, and that has not crossed the line at any stage. Would have hit the front of the post, not the back of the post.
He's lucky it wasn't a cricket ball.
Boy, let's hope there's more than a kick in it at the end of the night.
Otherwise, we know who will be getting the kick. From the ball up. Lappin going nowhere. In fact, tossed to the ground. Ball up.
Couldn't have come at a worse time for Brisbane either. They're desperately struggling, trying to stay in touch with Port, and the last thing they need is a decision that just gifts Port Adelaide a goal.
Yeah, but the reality was it was Justin Westhoff's free kick. That was a poor decision as well, him not being paid it. So
it's the square up.
square up.
Black with two possessions. One was smothered, the other to Lappin. Oh, magnificent tackle. Stephen Salopek.
He's had a good game so far, Salopek. Quality player, just needs to ignite his season.
Spears it in the Ebert direction. Thumped away from him by Patfull. Boak slipped over it now. Caught, tunnels it out. Black thumps it out in the power direction. Got the kick for too high. The knee from Justin Westhoff. And there's the maybe reversal.
Good decision from him.
Luke Power in game 199.
He could have been full of histrionics in the umpire and paid a free kick, but it wasn't worth it. Wasn't there.
And the Lions need to cut a break or two. Carlisle, as you said, Jared, he's a rising star, 20 years old. He's still got a big future ahead of him. The boy they call Bob because they can't pronounce Alapate. And one of two Fijian players in this lineup. David Roden, the other, of course. Wide ball and good thump by Merritt, which is his forte. We'll get a ball in. 40 seconds left on the clock.
Well, I think the good news for this contest is that Brisbane have found a taste for the contest. And whilst they've got a lot of work to do, certainly not out of it, but they don't want to concede another goal in this last 30 seconds.
Boak to Stewart. Cut off. And Jared Brennan's kick a torpedo off the side of the boot. And Carlisle and Brown see it out. Time enough for either team to score from this clearance.
You reckon they're well served? Troy Chaplin just keeps on impressing with his running ability. He's quick as well, and Adapati Carlisle gives him a couple of key defenders to build a defensive unit around.
Sean Burgoyne to Paul Stewart, who rolls it nicely to Thomas. Clever underground handball to Motlop. Chip kick, wide kick, too wide. Lade can't get there. And out of play on the full. Lions simply need to not turn it over from this kick. And we'll have quarter time. They don't turn it over. 25-point margin at quarter time here at Amy Stadium. Port Adelaide still yet to win a game in 2008, coming off a much improved performance last week in the showdown, even though they lost. And they've started with a 6-goal opening term, 6-3-39, Brisbane Lions, 2-2-14.
They're finding their Port Adelaide runners, they're getting to the right positions, and they're dominating the clearances.
I'm just going down the list of Brisbane players for someone else who can go with Chad Corns. Now, I'm not sure they've got that individual. Jared Brendan isn't tight enough on him, and he's not creating enough damage to make him accountable. If they put a small player like a Luke Powell on him to try and curtail him through the middle, then he goes to full forward. Could Joel Patfield run with Chad Corns?
Oh, gee, it'll test his tank. I'm not sure whether his tank is good enough, Jerry, but they've got to find some option, haven't they?
Brendan Lade again on the bench with Daniel Pearce as they started the opening term. Port Adelaide centre square starting for Brogan, Cassisi, Kane Corns and Chad Corns.